I spilled my cream.
So they start cringe, embarrassing, like not spicy stuff at all. Hello, friends. Tensby here. If you don't know who I am, I'm a comedian and I play The Sims and watch movies sometimes. We're watching a movie today. And before we begin, I have censored the heck out of this movie, okay? If you go off on your own, in your own time, and watch this movie, just know it is R-rated. Actually, it's probably like X-rated. It is crude. There's a lot of spicy, extra spicy, I'm talking like ghost pepper level spice scenes, because the movie is all about making an adult movie. We get the picture. So don't watch it with the family. Okay? This movie is misogynistic, so just also be careful if you're going to watch it. I'm watching it today because, at its core, it is a love story.
Let us.
Came out in 2008, and the title of the movie is Zack and Miri Make a Porno, a movie, an adult film, a naughty little movie. It stars Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, and it was made by Kevin Smith. All right, should we do it? Should we watch this movie? So we open with Miri. She's housemates with Seth Rogen, whose character name is Zack. So, sorry, I'm eating a biscuit. A cracker, a dry biscuit. Anyway, so they don't have any money, okay? Rent's due, water bill is due, electricity's due, everything's due. They don't have any flippin' cash. Zack works at a coffee shop. We meet Delaney, played by Craig Robinson, and he's talking about how much he hates his job, and so is Zack. They hate it.
Why is my life like this?
Tonight is Zack and Miri's 10-year high school reunion. So Miri is trying to pick out a cool outfit because she really wants to impress her old crush, Bobby Long. As she's getting changed in the back of the coffee place where Zack works, because, they're best friends, there's these two idiot teenagers, and one kind of looks like John Mulaney, maybe a little bit, but it's not him. But it could have been him. Anyway, they see her getting changed, and they start filming her on an old Motorola flip phone because they're making fun of the fact that she wears really big undies. But luckily Zack intervenes and he ends up putting his own butt in the way of their camera. So the first outfit Miri thinks looks dope is this mustard thing.
Let's get sexy!
Before the reunion, they're getting ready and the water gets shut off because remember, they're poor.
Help me, I'm poor.
But Miri still has shampoo in her hair and she's like, just use the water out of the toilet. So Zack lifts up the lid and he's like, there's poo in there.
There's poo in there.
I was putting mail in your letterbox and there was poo in there. What? You f***ing serious?
So they get to the reunion and they sign in and Miri spots Bobby Long, played by Brandon Ruth. And she's like, hey. And Bobby is like so stoked to see her.
Boner alert!
So while they're catching up, Zack goes over to the bar and he meets this guy called Brandon, who's played by Justin Long. So I think what's happened here is they've done a funny thing where Brandon Ruth, the actor, is playing somebody called Bobby Long, and he's friends with this character that Justin Long, the actor, is playing, whose character name is Brandon. Are you good there, sir? He is in the zoomy land. See that little white thing there? That's a little rat toy that we call Nelson. His little Nelson toy. And he brings it to bed every night. Are you okay? What are you doing? Miri and Bobby keep catching up and flirting. And then Zack interrupts because he and Justin Long's character had this really big conversation about what Justin's character does. And he says he lives in LA and he makes movies. And Zach's like, oh, cool. Anything I would have seen? And he's like, mostly stuff with like all male cast. And Zach's like, oh, cool. What, like Glengarry Glen Ross? Like, which is a great movie and a great play. And he's like, yeah, but maybe if like Glenn sucked Gary's.
Glenn and Gary suck Ross's meaty and drop their hairy in his eager mouth.
And so then it's revealed that Justin Long's character is a director of adult films. So then it's also revealed that Bobby is actually like a huge star in that industry and is actually dating Justin Long's character. So it's a bit where it's like, oh, Brandon makes movies. What's the title of your latest movie?
You better shut your mouth or I'm gonna it. That's right.
So Brandon, aka Justin Long's character, is like, wait a minute. Holy hell, I know you. And points to Miri. And she's like, what do you mean? That video that those teenagers took of her has been going viral under the name Granny Panties. So Miri is distraught. First of all, her crush, Bobby Long, is gay, which means he's not going to be interested in her. And second, she's now going viral on the internet for wearing a diaper.
You're gay?
Yeah.
And I'm on the internet wearing a diaper?
Who knew you come to Pittsburgh and meet a celebrity?
So Zach gets an idea that maybe they can capitalize on this Granny Panties video and make a Porno movie. So then Zach goes to Delaney and is like, do you want to produce this movie that we're making? And he's like, I don't want to produce no movie. And he's like, no, it's like an adult movie. And Delaney's like, oh, well then hell yeah. So he puts in some money and they find a warehouse that they can make this movie in. So then they start holding auditions. And there's this one guy who's reading the script and clearly reads it wrong.
I'm f***ing you in the puss.
It's puss as in pussy?
Oh, because I was like, who would want puss?
Then enter Lester, played by the guy who plays Jay in Jay and Silent Bob.
Rolling fatties, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts. Rolling blunts and smoking.
Let me get a nickel bag.
$15, little man.
Everybody has been cast and they're doing the first read through. And Zach is saying, like, who's going to be performing with who in the movie, if you know what I mean. Performing. Zach is directing the movie, so he is going to have a scene with Stacy and he's having a scene with Miri because they discussed that if they're both going to be sort of creatively making this movie together, collaborating, then it's all just professional and they're friends and it won't affect anything to do with their friendship because it's just a physical, professional thing.
Sure, Jan.
But as you know, when two friends hook up, it's either the end of the world or the start
Of something new.
In the script, it turns out that Miri's character is only going to be performing with Zach, whereas Zach gets to perform with a bunch of different ladies in the movie. That kind of ticks Miri off. And so she's like, hey, I think my character should also get with a few other characters in the movie. And they've come up with the movie title. They are going to do a parody on Star Wars. And so their movie title is Star Horticultural Stuff. Horticultural. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, you do, because you're smart. Yeah, so it turns out that Zach is like, fine, Miri's character can also perform with Lester.
Let us.
So they have a great first day. Zack and Miri are chatting because their scene is tomorrow. They're like, hey, let's promise that this isn't going to affect our friendship. Let's just promise that because, like, I love you like a best friend and I don't want this to ruin anything. Foreshadowing. The next morning, the whole warehouse is being demolished. That really puts a stinger in their butts. So everybody reconvenes in the coffee shop because they're just so sad. They've lost all the costumes, all the equipment. Ah! What is it? Oh, it's just a hair. As they're sitting in the coffee shop, Zach is like, hang on a minute. And he starts realizing that the coffee shop would make a great set.
I'd like a double espresso so I could stay up all night. 'Cause I'm in the mood to
And it's the next morning, and Miri is like, hey, Zach, that was really cool watching you take initiative like that and be really ambitious. Like, I've never seen this side of you. It's really cool. And Zach's like, yeah, I'm like feeling really motivated. Like, this is really fun. I'm having a good time. Which is quite nice. So they're seeing something new in each other, if you know what I mean. I'm making this sound like a really beautiful rom-com. Just remember, this is a movie about making an adult movie. Just remember that if you're going to watch the full thing. Because there's no way I can put any of that stuff on YouTube. I will be arrested.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
It's the next shoot night, and it is Zack and Miri's scene. So then their scene begins, and it is... This would have been so fun to film, though, just being like, ooh, oh my God, you're here.
Oops.
I spilled my cream.
So they start cringe, embarrassing, like not spicy stuff at all. They lay down on some bag of coffee beans. And I like this bit because we go from using the camera that their movie is being shot on to a close-up with the camera that we're used to seeing. And we get the tiny little emotions of them, you know, while this is all happening. This, like, you know, uplifting rock music starts, like, love. Yeah, they start doing their scene, but it is so far from what they've been shooting. You know what I mean? They've been doing jackhammer stuff, but Zack and Miri's scene is very, you know, slow and feelings and very nice. So not quite what the adult film industry was promoting back then. Let's just say that.
Cut. That's it? It's over?
So afterwards, Zack checks in with Miri and was like, that was fun. Mary's like, yeah. And Zack walks away, and Miri just... Like, that was the best she's ever had with her best friend, Zack. Friends to lovers, in my opinion, is always the best because you already know each other really well. And also, Zack has a nice little moment with himself, being like, whoa. So back at home, Miri's like, hey, do you want to talk about that? Because they both know that there was more than just, you know, a professional no feelings thing. There was definitely feelings. Just as Zack goes to acknowledge that there was something more there than just the physical professionalism, their power comes back on. And then there's a knock at the door, and it's the cast and crew. And it turns out they paid for their water and heating and power. That's very sweet. So they have a party. Miri and Stacey are sitting on the couch. Tomorrow is Stacey and Zack's scene. Remember, Zack and Miri still have scenes to do with other people. So Stacey is like, would you mind if I went and hung out with Zack tonight? And Miri's like, sure, you can ask. So she does.
I've made a huge mistake.
And Zack is like, what the heck? And he looks over at Miri, and Miri's like, and it's clear that, like, Stacey's like, no, Miri said it was okay. And so Miri sort of, you know, gives her blessing for them to hook up. But, like, also this confuses the hell out of Zack. And then the movie goes into slow motion as Stacey and Zack are walking into his room. Terrible. See, we have come pretty far since the early aughts where nobody said anything to each other. Everybody just assumed things and then got butthurt when that was wrong. Clear communication in any relationship is very important, people. Say how you feel. It's the next night of shooting. Stacey's like, hey, no hard feelings. It's all good. I'm happy to do this scene with Lester instead of you. And so we as the audience are like, oh, Zack is like opted out of doing his scene with Stacey. But what happened last night though? Did y'all get together or what? So then the camera guy is like, oh, if we're not doing you and Stacey's scene, are we still doing Miri and Lester's scene? And Zach's like, nah, we're cutting that too. Like, but then Miri walks in and she's all glammed up and she's like ready to go. She's like, I'm here to do my scene with Lester. And so they go out the back and they start to have a bit of a row because there is jealousy all amongst them. Just talk to each other like normal humans. But big feelings are scary. So, it's scary to be like, I like you. Anyway, so they have this big fight where Miri's like, why are you being so weird about this? And Zach's like, because you're about to have your scene with Lester and I don't like it. And Miri's like, well, you didn't care about my feelings last night when you went into your room with Stacey. And he's like, what? Blah! Can we both acknowledge that something happened during our scene? Can we say that? And Miri's like, nah. And then Zach is like, you know what? Screw you. This does hurt my feelings because during our scene, I definitely felt something. And then he's like, and you know what? I'm going to say this thing because maybe that'll make you change your mind about having your scene with Lester. And he says,
I love you, Miri.
Oh, Jesus. You better get a hold of yourself, Zach, because we just fucked.
And so Zach walks away, but just before he leaves, he says, so what if I didn't get with Stacey last night?
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, Zach leaves and then Miri goes home and he's gone. Then we cut to 3 months later and Zach is working as some like hockey mascot. Oh no, it's not really important. Anyway, Delaney comes to his work and catches up with him and is like, you still owe me a bunch of money and the only way you are going to be able to pay me back is if we finish the movie. And Zach's like, I can't finish the movie. I don't even talk to Miri anymore. Like, have you seen her around? And he's like, no, I haven't seen her around. Whatever, but we can still finish the movie and make some money. And Zach's like, fine. So Zach goes back to Delaney's house and the camera guy's there and he's been editing the footage. They go through like Stacey and Lester's scene and Bubbles and the other guy's scene. And then they go to Zack and Miri's scene and they're like, there's a big difference here. This isn't an adult movie type of scene. This is like two people making love. Ultimately, they're like, do you see that she's in love with you too? Like she wasn't just being weird and like being horrible, jealous girl or whatever he thought she was being. Like she was acting like that because her feelings were hurt because she loves you. She loves you, Zach. And Zach's like, whoa, I didn't think about that at all because I only ever think of myself and I assume the worst about everybody because I'm an insecure dude. Boys. So Zach is like, I gotta go get her. Love it. We love an ambitious man. So he runs home and Miri's in the bathroom and he's yelling at her through the door, being like, look, I was so wrong. It doesn't matter if you still did your scene with Lester. I don't even care because at the end of the day, I love you and you're for me and I've always loved you ever since school. He does the big end of the movie speech. And as he's saying, it doesn't matter if you got with Lester, I don't even care. Lester comes out of Miri's room.
What's up, Zach?
But he's also like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's cool. I left. But then Lester's like, we're not hooking up. I just live here now because Miri needed a housemate to pay for the rent. So I moved into her room. She moved into your old room. Ding dong. Because Miri loves Zach and Zach loves Miri. And Zack and Miri made a promo. So they embrace and they kiss. And now they're boyfriend, girlfriend. They go to bed. And they go to sleep. And then they get married. And they have little babies and it's all good. And that's the end of the movie. Just remember, I cut this down to about 32 minutes because the rest of it was irrelevant, mostly dick jokes, and a lot of scenes. Okay? Do you know what I mean? Scenes. So just remember, this is an X-rated film. Do not watch it with the family. Okay, that was Zack and Miri Make a parrot from a prawn. What do I rate it? Out of 5, I'm going to give it a 3. It's all right. You know, it's fun. For the early 2000s, the misogyny is hot. And the slurs. There's a lot of slurs in there, so just be careful of that stuff. Yeah, I feel like if they tried to make a movie like this now, they could make it, a bit more character exploration, a bit less of Zack being very assuming. Maybe we can explore if he is still that assuming about Miri, then like, why is he so insecure? Well, I hope you liked hanging out with me. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out to build whatever the hell we're building here, but I love it. Love doing it. And I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.